and welcome to Behind the News. I am Halima Sadia and I am joined by Mohammad Rizwan, a senior analyst and journalist of Tag TV. He is very renowned for his political analysis around the world right now. So we will be starting our show today by discussing the news of Kartarpur border opening between India and Pakistan. It is a very hot news right now, and it is the topic of the social media around the world. So what do you think, Rizwan? Is this time, is it real? Or if it is real, what impact do you think it is going to leave on all the players around there?
Halima, let me begin by saying that it's huge. It's as big as it gets in terms of Pakistan and India relations. It's a very, very significant step. And this Kartarpur is a border, like you said, between Indian Punjab and Pakistani Punjab. And there is a big river, Ravi River, which flows between, on one bank is Pakistan and one bank is India. And this is on one bank, Pakistani side of the bank of Ravi River, there is the last resting place, kind of mausoleum for the founder of Sikh religion, the most sacred man of Sikh religion, Baba Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And on the other side, on the Indian side of Ravi River, there is a place where he used to meditate and sit and receive the devotees and all that. So that is called Dera Baba Nanak Sahib. So these two had to be connected, and before that it was happening that somebody, if from that across the bank wanted to come to Pakistan to visit the mausoleum, he had to go to Delhi to get visa, and if he is lucky he would get visa, otherwise he won't get visa for Pakistan. So in terms of people's facilitation, it's a very big step. It's a good step. But you asked me that this time, is it real or not? That's a $1 million question. That's a question which we all are wondering, and people across the border, both in India and Pakistan, they are also wondering that we have been here before, we have seen it before, so what's going to happen this time? There is a history to all of this. Right from 1960s up till now, there have been so many false alarms in terms of Pak-India peace. They have been talking to each other, and then the talks break down. They have been talking to each other, and then some terrorist incident happens. Then the talks breaks down. The government change. Military governments come in Pakistan. Their Congress gives way to BJP. All kinds of things have been impacting the Pakistan-India's peace process. And lately, we have seen in 2004, we were told, rather, by our military dictator, General Musharraf, that we are just inch closer to sealing a deal on Kashmir. Kashmir is the region where Pakistan and India lay their claim, and that's why they have been fighting for over 70 years. Ever since
I'll interrupt
partition.
here. So are you suggesting that Kashmir is the issue of dispute for this border, or this border has more reasons than Kashmir?
This border opening is part of people-to-people contact. Kashmir is something which is the biggest issue between Pakistan and India. If that gets sorted out through any arrangement, through any diplomacy or talks, then there will be no real thorny issue left between the two countries. But this border opening, this is significant because it connects Pakistani Punjab with Indian Punjab. It's a religious corridor. The only religious pilgrims, they will come, and devotees will be able to visit the shrines on both sides of the Ravi River. But it has a huge potential. in terms of when, you see, when people come, when people talk, people meet, then there is a lot of possibility. There are a lot of possibilities which could open up, like trade, like economics, like other things. And if this border opening goes fine, and there is no terrorist incident, and there is no, the kind of interruptions that we have seen before, this has the potential to go forward. But like you said, in India and Pakistan's relations, there is nothing is simple. Everything is complicated. Everything is complex. Pakistan is basically governed by military, Pakistan's military, which we call establishment, because the military controls foreign policy, defense policy, and security policy, among other policies as well. And in India, the politicians run the show, but in their politics, like politics of every other country, every other country around the world, there are a lot of conflicting opinions and a lot of contradictory purposes to fill. This time, the good thing is that from India, there are no dissenting voices. It means that the ruling BJP party and its opponents, Congress and the other regional parties, they are on board as far as these talks, this Kartarpur border opening is concerned. And in Pakistan, the invitation came from Pakistan's army chief, General Bajwa. So he invited India that we are ready to open this corridor. So this time it looks that there will be progress, there can be a way forward, but at the end of the day, we have to be very, very watchful, and we have to be very, very careful about the actors which come into play. The unforeseen, invisible circumstances, the terrorist incidents, all kinds of political upheavals. So these things have to be defended against. Otherwise, this will be just one of those false alarms which we have been seeing over the years.
So what if it happens? So where do we go? What is the next thing we are looking forward? What kind of difference will it make with both the countries?
Halima, this move has a huge potential. Just assuming that this will go as smoothly as possible, but it will be a very optimistic assumption. But again, okay, for discussion's sake, I assume that everything will move forward smoothly, and this process will lead to maybe a comprehensive peace dialogue between two countries. If it does, then it's not only Punjab that will benefit. Pakistan have basically no trading partners left in the region. The economy badly needs money from trade or foreign investment. So both are absent at the moment. So if this border opens up, and the trade between Indian Punjab and Pakistani Punjab opens up, and they start talking about kind of volumes of trade which we can expect in both countries, it will be a huge injection to Pakistan's economy. Pakistan will immediately benefit, and Indian Punjab will prosper more because of trade in Pakistan, because there are several of items which are in abundance in Indian Punjab, but they are scarce in Pakistan, and in Pakistan the vice versa. So that's only Punjab perspective. Then take it to the bigger picture. The Kartarpur border lies in the district of Gurdaspur in Indian Punjab. Gurdaspur is gateway to Kashmir. Gurdaspur has physical joint proximity with Kashmir, the flashpoint between India and Pakistan. So if Indian Punjab can trade so close to Kashmir, why not Kashmiris can trade them? That would be
that will be the impact, better economic impact on
It will create immediate impact on Kashmir situation, because Kashmiris will say, that look, now India is trading with Pakistan. They are moving freely. I mean, we Kashmiris, we are bound by centuries of relations. We are the same people on both sides of the border. Why can't we meet? Why can't we trade? Why can't we travel? So that will be difficult to stop then. So this will set the ball rolling for maybe a greater peace in the region.
So we will continue our talk, and we will talk about Canada and Ontario's job market specifically, but it's time to go for a break. Let's go for a break and then we will continue our talk.
Today we are showcasing Rotimatic. It's a fully automated roti maker. This is the first time we are bringing to Canada, and it's available on bestbuy.ca online.
Been using this device for a year now, and it's absolutely lifesaver to me.
This is a very handy device. It's a small, compact, very easy to make the rotis.
You can make crepes, you can make wraps, you can make rotis, parathas. Multi-talented machine this is.
Now Rotimatic is available in Canada online at bestbuy.ca. Free shipping within 3 to 5 business days across Canada.
मिसिसागा में बेहद कामयाबी के बाद अब ब्रैम्पटन में सेकंड लोकेशन ताजा टेस्ट रेस्टोरेंट। ताजा टेस्ट का है ताजा ताजा मजा, ताजा टेस्ट का है ताजा ताजा मजा, ताजा टेस्ट रेस्टोरेंट। दिल्ली, कराची, लाहौर के मजेदार खाने। ताजा टेस्ट रेस्टोरेंट, लाहौरी चिकन छोले, मजेदार चिकन कढ़ाई, कबाब, टिक्के और बारबेक्यू आइटम्स। ताजा यानी मजेदार, ताजा टेस्ट रेस्टोरेंट। Second location in Brampton at the intersection of Torbram and Steeles, 957928866.
Welcome back to Behind the News. Now we will talk little about Canadian, especially Ontario job market, as our GM Motor Canada has announced to shut down its plant in Oshawa in 2019. So Rizwan, what do you think? Which kind of impact is it going to leave on the job market especially, and on Oshawa city, because it has recently developed, not many years ago that whole area was developed, the whole house market and all that was developed because of having the job opportunities there.
Halima, this news is very disappointing, especially with the Ontarians' perspective, and but it was expected because General Motors, somehow there have been some management problems in this company, or whatever the reason is, that this company has been slumping down ever since 10 years. It's going down.
Prime Minister Stephen Harper also, in his era also, there was some kind of adjustment for GM Motors.
Yes, and lately now they have decided to close down 3 plants in North America, and one of them is their major plant, automaking plant in Oshawa, which you have just talked about, and at one time, just 15-20 years back, Oshawa plant had a workforce of 23 to 27,000 permanent workers. But now it has come down to only 3,000 workers.
It's a major
and
cut down.
Those 3,000 workers are going to lose their jobs in 2019 as the plants shut down. And now, where this plant is going? This plant is going to Mexico now. So because the General Motors says that because of automation and because of all kind of new technology, the electric cars and all that, so they will be building the new vehicles and new automobiles in Mexico. The reason they are doing is because they want to save around $6 billion out of this move. So saving this money at the cost of Canadian workforce is obviously a not very good, not a best thing a Canadian can hope for from this across the border, trade and manufacturing base. But this hasn't happened overnight. In 2009, when the world was going into deep recession, you remember, and that time Canadian government injected this General Motors for $10 billion of taxpayers' money to prop it up because they were going to be bankrupt at that time, and Canadian government, just to save the jobs, whatever was left at that time, they injected $10 billion into this. Out of $4 to $5 billion came back because there were loans and all that, but Ontario government and the Canadian government both, they lost $4 to $5 billion in that one move on General Motors. It clearly shows that there is something wrong with this company. General Motors is finding it very difficult to sell its brands in Canada, in North America, because it's not a Canadian problem. It's not a local thing, because otherwise their numbers would have been going down just in Canada, their sales numbers. But they are shutting down 3 plants in North America, the US as well.
So why they are opening in Mexico then? If it is
because Mexico, most of the companies, automobiles, they are going to Mexico because of cheap labor, low taxes. So that's their incentive. So they don't care that they have been here since 1980s, early 1980s. They have been here since 1907, but now they are here fully operational at this level since 1980s, and they must have earned billions and billions of dollars from the Canadian economy and selling cars to the Canadian people. But when the crunch time came, they didn't think twice to leave. So much for that, these joint ventures kind of things. The only mistake, I would say, now in the hindsight we can say it was mistake, but I don't know what were the compulsions of that government at that time. That Canadian government should not have bailed out GM at that time. They should have, let it be bankrupt.
Let it go.
Because let it go. If they had potent enough, they could have survived in Canada. If they were, totally bankrupt or totally dissolvent, they could have gone out and now whatever they did now. So the only point is that Canadian government would have saved $4 to $5 billion of their taxpayers' money. So that would have been smart thinking. But at that time, recession was so bad around the world that most of the governments around the world, they were giving generous bailouts to the industries to prop them up and to keep their workforce. So that's what happened. My point is that, this manufacturing having a manufacturing base in Canada, having trading partners all over the world, obviously this is the engine of the economy for Canada. It should be kept back that way because there is no other better way. But at the same time, the taxpayers' dollars should be used, we should think twice in spending taxpayers' dollars in these kinds of bailouts.
And especially when we are having so much issues about our economy or our jobs and our people. So we have to think that way, where we can save and where we can put it to.
That's right. I mean, it should be used prudently, whatever taxpayer dollars are, because the bailouts very rarely, it worked in America in a few companies, it worked in Germany also when the recession was on its peak, but it doesn't work always in all countries, in all situations. So this GM story, this tells us clearly that we should have not bailed them out at that time.
So we will continue our talk about behind the news. We'll see, now we will peek through Middle East to see what is happening there, but we have to go for a short break before we talk.
Today we are showcasing Roti-Matic. It's a fully automated roti maker. This is the first time we are bringing to Canada, and it's available on bestbuy.ca online.
Been using this device for a year now, and it's absolutely lifesaver to me.
This is very handy device. It's a small, compact, very easy to make the rotis.
So you can make crepes, you can make wraps, you can make rotis, parathas. Multi-talented machine this is.
Now Roti-Matic is available in Canada online at bestbuy.ca. Free shipping within 3 to 5 business days across Canada. Welcome back to Behind the News. We are going to touch upon Middle East. We will continue our talk about Jamal Khashoogi's murder. It has been talked a lot in social media, to news everywhere around, but our analysts are those people who usually analyze the news after it has happened. So what is your analysis, Rizwan? What do you think? It has faded, it has died, it has no more value, or it has left the impacts? And if it has left the impact, what are those impacts?
Halima, at the moment, very unfortunately, it looks that the whole episode of gruesome episode of Jamal Khashoogi's murder has gone on the back burner, and the reason is not that the Saudi Kingdom has done a brilliant, as always, a brilliant PR campaign and PR exercise to diffuse it. The reason lies in Washington, unfortunately, where the U.S. administration very clearly, they not only sent out signals, they said it in not so veiled terms, that U.S. interests are very significantly tied with the Saudi interests, and they have sent out the signal that it will be very hard for U.S. now to draw back, to pull back from those interests at the moment. So it directly or indirectly means that United States is not going to play, which people were expecting, which Democrats in Washington and many Republicans as well, they were also expecting the administration to take a very firm stand on Saudi Arabia. But it seems now that they have been let off the hook at the moment. And another thing which we are witnessing is that strangely, Europe is quiet as well. The capitals, Berlin, London, Paris, they have been talking about Khashoggi's murder. But then, apart from Berlin, most of the major European powers, they started talking about their defense deals, defense contracts with Saudi Arabia. So Jamal Khashoggi's murder has been left at the altar of international politics.
So it's been left behind, but the impact is very important. So if we see from our last time when we had a look at how the President of United States said that our United States interests are with Saudi Arabia, and they were very clear that we cannot right now. China is ahead in the game of economy, so we cannot take the risk of going and leaving all those deals. So was it overnight, or how do you see, or the strings were pulled to have certain kind of deals which has been done?
Anyway, you are right. Recently, Secretary of Defense Jim Mattis and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, they had a closed door because Congress was putting pressure on the administration to move forward on Khashoogi's murder, because in U.S. intelligence community and in the U.S. political community, there is a consensus that the Crown Prince, MBS, he was involved and in Khashoggi's murder directly. So that was more or less, not in those terms, with the confidence level was the CIA finding and assessment as well. But it's all being ignored by the administration. They are ignoring their own intelligence community's assessment. So Secretary Defense and Secretary Pompeo, they went to Senate and they talked to the senators behind closed doors. And there are reports in the US media that they were told that Saudi US interests are too closely aligned at the moment, too closely, they can't be sacrificed at the moment. And if I see this situation, the only things which comes to my mind is Yemen war, because to get rid of Saudis in the Middle East, U.S. needs a strong ally, a strong partner to have a bulwark against Iranian advances. So that partner is nowhere to be seen at the moment.
And they have been with each other for a very, very long time. So you know each and every detail about the person you're dealing with.
True. And that unless that partner, that country, US finds a very reliable, potent and powerful partner in Middle East to thwart the influence of Iranians over there, because Iranians have almost have a very large and significant influence in Iraq at the time. They have almost taken over Yemen at the moment. They have their influence in other parts of the Gulf countries as well, like Hezbollah, like Lebanon. So it's a game which the US cannot play without a very reliable Middle East partner. So they are pegging their hopes on Saudi Arabia to continue that policy. But at the same time, they are trying to broker a peace in Yemen so that they can chart out a new strategy to thwart Iranian influence in Iran. And that strategy will not have a Saudi role as dominant and as significant as they used to have. So things are in the pipeline, things are happening, things are moving. I don't know in which direction, but they are moving. But at the same time, in all these strategic compulsions, Jamal Khashoggi's murder has been lost. All we know is that he was a journalist. He was a critic of Saudi Arabia, one time ally as well of the royal family, but then he turned a dissenter and he was a critic of Saudi Arabia, and he was ostensibly murdered on the orders from the very top, which is the things lead to MBS, the Crown Prince. So this situation at the moment, you're right, that it seems that the pressure is very much off from Saudi's back, and that the Crown Prince is now going to G20 summit in Argentina, where he may or may not meet President Trump as well. So that would be a big boost, and that would be a signal to the world that business is, it's business as usual as far as Saudis are concerned. It's unfortunate, but it's happening.
I thank you very much for joining us today in our studio and giving us behind the scene, behind the news, the scene, which usually we ignore. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Viewers, give us your feedback. We will be available on WhatsApp, tagtv.info. Watch our show and let us know how you feel, how you find it. With these words, thank you very much for watching Behind the News today with us.